Hello well-wishers and welcome to my channel Aspiring Minds. In today's video, we are going to discuss a short story called The Medicine Bag by Virginia Driving Hawk Sneve. So grab your virtual seats and let's begin. In this video, we will discuss the background and context of the poem. Then I will give you a detailed summary highlighting the important events of the story. We will discuss about the Sioux tradition and culture, which is very important, and it will help you to get a feel and understanding of the story. And we will discuss the major themes in details. Virginia Driving Hawk Sneve was a Native American author and educator. She was born in 1933 on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. Sneve wrote numerous books and short stories focusing on her experiences of the North American lifestyle, particularly the Sioux people, and that is the reason why you find elements of this tradition and culture in the story. And towards the end of the video, I will also give you a brief overview of the Sioux tradition that will help you to understand the story better. The story The Medicine Bag is one which explores the themes of cultural identity, the importance of family system or the family dynamics, and embracing one's tradition. It delves into the life of a young boy called Martin, who is seen to struggle with his Sioux heritage and how he feels embarrassed over his grandfather's appearance, because we will see how in the story the grandfather is the one who carries on the legacy and tradition of his culture. In the story, we have Martin, the protagonist. He is a young boy who is embarrassed by his Sioux grandfather's appearance and traditions. We have Grandpa. His name is Joe Iron Shell. He is Martin Sioux's grandfather who visits him and his family who live in the city. We have Cheryl. She is Martin's younger sister who is more accepting of their Sioux heritage. Martin's parents, including his mother and father, who welcome Grandpa into their home, and Martin's friends who initially make fun of Grandpa but later come to respect him. The central message of the story revolves around the importance of embracing one's culture, heritage, and respecting family traditions. It highlights the journey of self-discovery and acceptance that Martin undergoes as he learns to appreciate his Sioux identity and the significance of his grandfather's traditions. So the story begins with Martin and his sister Cheryl, who are often seen to be boasting about their Sioux grandfather, Joe Iron Shell, to their city friends, and they tell them about the tales of their visits to the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. Whenever it used to be summer vacation, the children used to go to visit their grandfather, and when they come back, they go and narrate the stories of the Sioux tradition to their friends. Now, despite the glorified stories which are told by Martin himself to his own friends, he acknowledges that there is a disparity or difference between the descriptions that he gives and the reality of his grandfather's simple lifestyle. He tends to perhaps exaggerate a little, and then in reality, grandfather is not as well to do. However, perhaps because Martin is also fascinated by the Sioux tradition and culture, it is because of that he comes and tells the stories to his friends, and secondly, he wants the attention of his friends as well. Now, what happens is, while all this is happening, one fine day, Grandpa unexpectedly visits the city, and Martin feels ashamed and embarrassed by his grandfather's appearance, because he had put up a very glorified image of his grandfather to his friends, and when he appears in reality, he feels his friends will disapprove of the appearance of his grandfather and therefore will start disapproving of Martin. So Martin hears a lot of commotion and chaos outside, and he discovers that it is Grandpa who has come to the city, and he is being harassed by the neighborhood dogs and children while he is walking down the street, because this is the first time that Grandpa has come to the city. He has never come here before, so he is also trying to find his way out. Now, because his appearance is unique as per the Sioux tradition, even the dogs and the local neighborhood people are not familiar with this kind of an appearance, and therefore they think that there is an outsider who has stepped into the city. Now, overcoming this initial embarrassment, Martin rushes to rescue Grandpa from the aggressive dogs and confronts the situation, saving him. So Martin quickly rescues his Grandpa and brings him into the house. He greets his Grandpa in a very awkward manner in front of their house because he is feeling embarrassed by his appearance and the attention that his appearance was grabbing from the neighborhood. Despite Martin's embarrassment, his mom warmly welcomes Grandpa into the house, but because of extreme exhaustion, Grandpa eventually faints. If I refer to a paragraph in the story, it says, "All I could do was stand there with the whole neighborhood watching and shake hand of the leather brown old man. I saw how his grey hair straggled from under his big black hat, which had a drooping feather in its crown. His rumpled black suit hung like a sack over his stooped frame. As he shook my hand, his coat fell open to expose a bright red satin shirt with a beaded bolo tie under the collar." So this paragraph highlights the appearance of Grandpa. Martin then assists in making Grandpa comfortable, noticing a leather pouch which is there around his neck, and there is money stuffed in his boots. They soon decide that it is time to call for the doctor because Grandpa has fainted. After the doctor's visit, it is revealed that Grandpa had travelled a long distance on buses, and then he walked to find his family, feeling lonely after their visits to him. So Martin feels guilty for not realizing Grandpa's loneliness and admires his courage to travel alone at this age, because remember, the family used to go and visit Grandpa during summer vacation. When they would come back, Grandpa would be left all alone, so he would not be able to while away his time, and today he had decided to visit them. So he also mentions that he came over here because he decided that he would like to see where his only living descendants lived and what our home was like, and he had also admitted he was lonesome after we left. Moreover, the description of how he had reached here is also given, that is, he had ridden on buses for 2.5 days. When he arrived in the city, tired and stiff from sitting for so long, he set out walking to find us. However, he was still not aware of where to go, so the policemen found him. The cop, according to Grandpa, was a good man who took him to the bus stop and waited until the bus came to tell the driver to let Grandpa out at Bellevue Drive. After that, he kept walking in the middle of the street, and that is when the kids and dogs start attacking him, this 86-year-old man, and then is the place where Martin finds him. So even Martin is feeling embarrassed on the effort put in by Grandpa to reach over here. After this, Grandpa reveals that he had saved money for his funeral, but he gives it to the family to buy groceries during his stay because he did not want to be a burden for the family. Despite feeling honored, Grandpa insists that it wasn't the right time for visit until now. That is, all this while he was being able to stay on his own in the village. However, he felt that this was now the correct time to visit their family. Grandpa also reveals his plan to pass down the medicine bag tradition to Martin, indicating his belief that time is near. But Martin is struggling with the idea of wearing the medicine bag around his neck, but then he agrees to accept it when the time comes. See how Grandpa is already getting aware that the time is near. It is mentioned in the story that Grandpa thought he was going to die and he had to follow the tradition of his family to pass the medicine bag along with its history to the oldest male child. Even though the boy, he said, bears a white man's name, the medicine bag will be his. So the medicine bag was the dirty leather pouch I had found around his neck as told by Martin, and seeing it, he does not like it that he too would have to wear this kind of a medicine bag around his neck. After this, we see that Grandpa stays with the family for 2 months and he becomes a beloved of the family, especially Cheryl's friends are not at all embarrassed. Cheryl is not embarrassed to bring her friends home, so they come home and they listen to Grandpa and his stories. However, one fine day, Martin used to be very embarrassed, but his friends also finally visit and are rather impressed by Grandpa's appearance and the stories that he narrates. Grandpa shares stories with Martin's friends and enjoys their company. However, he's an old man, so he too gets tired very easily. So Martin's friends express their admiration for Grandpa before leaving, and Grandpa tells Martin that the next day it will be time to pass the medicine bag tradition. And you see, Grandpa is an old wise man. Somewhere on the 5th page of the story, it is written that the day Martin's friends were supposed to come home, he was sitting on the patio, yes, and Grandpa had on his red shirt, but today he wore a fringed leather vest that was decorated with beads. Instead of his usual cowboy boots, he had solidly beaded moccasins on his feet that stuck out of his black trousers. Of course, he had his old black hat on. He was seldom without it, but it had been brushed and the feather in the beaded headband was proudly erect, its tip a brighter white. All these are descriptions of Grandpa's appearance. I stared just as my friends did, and I heard one of them murmur, "Wow." So even Grandpa was aware of the fact that Martin was embarrassed of his appearance, and one fine day when he knew Martin's friends are going to come over, he had put in special effort to dress himself up to the occasion. It is the next day now, and Grandpa sends Martin's mother and sister away, stating that he will share whatever he has to about the background to the medicine bag. It is only for a man's ears and hands. He then starts narrating the story of his father's vision quest, where he found a piece of white man's iron and he had put it into the medicine bag. Now, Iron Shell, that is Martin's grandfather, passed the medicine bag down to Grandpa, who then tells Martin about the importance of this medicine bag. Grandpa reveals that the bag's contents include a broken shell of the iron kettle, a pebble from the bottle where the vision from the butt where the vision occurred, and a piece of sacred sage. He instructs Martin to add a piece of prairie sage and keep the bag safe until he returns to the reservation. Martin then receives the bag, but he is told not to wear the bag in the current time. However, he should place the prairie sage in it and only then he should wear it. Grandpa, feeling tired, now asks Martin to leave so that he can rest. And what is the significance of this? Iron Shell had kept the piece of iron with him at all times and believed that it gave him protection from the evil of those unhappy days, right? And then he also tells that when the bag was passed on to his father, he had to go for war and he did not take it with him at war, thinking that he would lose the medicine bag. See, it is mentioned in the story, I gave him the bag for I believed it would protect him in the battle, but he did not take it with him. He was afraid that he would lose it. And then what happened? He died in a faraway place. And then when he tells that he must keep a prairie sacred sage in it, it is basically a kind of a flowery leaf which Grandpa tells that Martin must add in the medicine bag. Now, after all this is over, Grandpa is obviously he's tired, and then later on, it is stated in the story that Martin's parents take Grandpa to the hospital, and 2 weeks later, Martin adds the sacred sage to the medicine bag while he visits the reservation, and ultimately we get to know that after having responsibly passed on the medicine bag to Martin, Grandpa leaves the world. So I would like to briefly tell you about the Sioux tradition and culture. Primarily, the location is the Great Plain region of North America, including states like South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Minnesota, and Nebraska. The most important tribes found in this region were Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota. And what was the lifestyle of these people like? Historically, the Sioux tribe were nomadic hunters following the buffalo herds for their living. The Sioux tribe was deeply spiritual. They had a strong connection to nature and the spiritual world. They had a ritual of cleaning and purifying everything around them. Often there were vision quests that people had, wherein they would seek guidance and spiritual enlightenment. There is also seen about the Sioux tribe that the spiritual leaders were responsible for healing, providing guidance, and conducting rituals. The elders held a significant amount of wisdom, and they were highly respected within the Sioux community. If you talk about their traditional crafts, they were skilled in crafting items like beadwork, quill work, and pottery, reflecting their cultural heritage. There was a strong emphasis on family and community life, with extended families playing crucial role in the daily life and ceremonies. And lastly, there was seen among the Sioux tribesmen preservation of cultural knowledge through storytelling, passing down of history, myths, and spiritual teachings orally from one generation to another. And we see an example of this in the story The Medicine Bag, of how Grandpa passes on the tradition of the medicine bag to his grandson Martin. We can look at these 4 major themes when it comes to the story The Medicine Bag, that is cultural identity, family and tradition, acceptance and respect, and generational connection. Now, when I talk about cultural identity, we see how Martin is struggling with his Sioux heritage, and initially he feels ashamed of his grandfather's appearance and traditions. However, later he learns to embrace his cultural identity and appreciate the significance of his family's heritage. That brings me to discussing family and tradition. The story emphasizes the importance of family bonds and the preservation of cultural traditions across generations. Grandpa's visit and the passing of the medicine bag symbolizes the transmission of cultural heritage within the family. It is because he has to pass on this cultural heritage to his family that, imagine, Grandpa puts in so much effort to travel from far away to come and visit the people, his family in the city. If I talk about acceptance and respect, through Martin's journey of self-discovery, the story highlights the theme of acceptance and respect for one's cultural background and the traditions of one's ancestors that we must respect. It is only when he gradually starts getting comfortable with Grandpa that he learns about his culture and he embraces the medicine bag automatically. We also see the relationship between Martin and Grandpa highlights the bond between different generations and how there is transfer of wisdom, values, and traditions from elders to the younger members of the family. So that's it from this video. I hope you liked it. Do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more such future updates. Thank you for watching. Bye.